Hello and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'd tell you a bit about my day yesterday. I had a nice time in London. So the first place we went to when we got there, it was a lovely sunny day, really nice. We went to the V&A. So the Victoria and Albert Museum is one of the museums I haven't actually been to before in London. I've been to a lot of the other museums there. The Victoria and Albert is kind of a mix of items in it, quite historical, but it's kind of focused on design and innovation. So there's a lot of furniture, as you can see here, designs of furniture, not only through the times but also from different cultures as well. They've got a Japanese part of the exhibition. They've got all sorts of items such as, clothing and artifacts. There's a whole section on jewellery design, which I really enjoyed. I've dabbled a bit in metalsmithing and so forth, so it was really interesting to see all the designs and all the methods for making them, including old tools from years ago. So we got this big map because it's a big place, but we knew really you kind of need a whole day there, but we knew we wanted to do a few other things in the afternoon. So we got this. This is a really nice kind of way to get around the museum without kind of lingering too long in each section. Basically, it's a kind of a leaflet that has the 20 greatest treasures in it. And it kind of takes you on a little tour of all the exhibitions, and they suggest that you kind of find each of these items in each exhibition. So it's a concertina thing here, and it sort of details 20 items, tells you about them, tells you how to get to them, and if you go through looking for these items, then obviously you're gonna see quite a lot and get a good look around. One of the really interesting things that we saw while we were there was one of Leonardo da Vinci's sketchbooks, or notebooks rather. And this was actually pretty small. It was probably, just slightly larger than this picture. And what was really interesting about it was that the writing was quite strange. And we were looking at it for a while and trying to work it out. And eventually we realised that the writing was actually mirrored. So in his notebooks, Da Vinci would essentially write backwards. Now, of course, the language wasn't English anyway, it was Latin, I think. So to us it would be difficult to read anyway, but Da Vinci liked to write in a mirrored way, partly because he was left-handed. So if you want to try some mirror writing, it's probably easiest if you put the pen in your non-dominant hand. So for me, that's my left hand, and it kind of comes a bit naturally to you when you do that. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to have fun doing this. But just to show you an example of mirrored writing, let's see if I can do this. So what shall I write? Notebook. So you start like you would with your right hand, but you're going the opposite way. So if I'm writing the letter N, I would be going like this. Okay, so let's have a look. Obviously my writing isn't going to be very neat because I'm not used to using my left hand. Notebook. So that might look pretty weird, but if it's mirrored, you should be able to read it. And yeah, there's loads of different types of things to look at. This is one of the examples of a sort of elaborate wooden cupboard there. There's sculptures as well, which are very grand and interesting to see. There's also items like tapestries, and I think there was an exhibition on theatre, and there were some fantastic little set pieces where the sets had been designed by making miniature models of how it would look, and they were really impressive. So we had a really good time at the V&A. I was on the lookout for some propelling pencils because obviously they were a nice piece of engineering, and also they're often made out of silver. So when I was going through the silver section, I was hoping I would see some, but unfortunately they only had one. I'll insert the clip now to show you that, and I also found another really cool thing in the same cabinet, so take a look. So I'm at the V&A Museum and I've managed to find a mechanical pencil. It looks to be a two-colour one, so you push down the bits on each side and a different lead comes out. And I've also found, get that to focus, a miniature, oh, it's not focusing, a miniature painting kit. Oh, there we go. How amazing is that? Looks like it folds up and then you can attach it to something. Miniature paint box. Gilt within, hinged lid, paint and paintbrush. The paint box was given to Hannah Gluck as a child by Sir Joseph Leon. Paint boxes were made in silver from the late 18th century. Wow, I love that. So I wasn't expecting to see that miniature watercolour kit, and that just excited me no end. I couldn't believe that I hadn't seen that kind of thing before, ever. So just the fact that someone had crafted a silver miniature watercolour kit complete with brush is just, oh, I love it. So onto the haul then from the gift shop, kind of inspired by that little watercolour kit I saw. I couldn't resist this tin here. They had these tins that had ticket designs, and I couldn't resist buying it really. So it looks as though it slides open because it's got the exposed bit here and the rest is covered, so I think you slide it to open it, so that could be interesting for a watercolour kit. So I'll be using this no doubt in my next travel watercolour video. And then I also bought this. This is an Oyster card holder. So in London, your travel pass, your card, if you travel a lot in London, you tend to have this thing called an Oyster card. And because you don't have to push it through the barriers, you can just touch it. A lot of people buy Oyster card holders to protect it, because you can still tap that on the ticket barriers and it will recognise it through the case. One of my videos that I'm working on at the moment is a follow-up to the easy no sew no glue sketchbook, DIY sketchbook video. So if you imagine this instead of as an Oyster card holder, if you imagine it as a book cover, then you can kind of get the idea of where I'm going with that, because you can sort of tuck in both sides of your book there and you've got like a nice little sketchbook cover. So look out for that video because I'm just filming that at the moment, so that should be out quite soon. They've got a Japanese exhibition there, so I saw this really nice bookmark. I'll just look on the back to see. Yep, so this is based on, this is taken from wallpaper for screens or sliding doors, so this is a design that would have been on there. And I just really liked that, so I grabbed that. And I also really enjoyed this design here, this pattern, and the artist who did this was Owen Jones, and I just really like the pattern and the colours of that. And lastly, I got a book. The V&A actually do a whole series of books on patterns by various pattern designers over over time, over the history of pattern design. And this one, William Morris, I really love his work. Very kind of, I want to say ornate, kind of very detailed, lots of florals, lots going on, but also very sort of understated in its approach as well. So you've got a lot going on, but there's a very simplistic method to it as well, with the lines and the shapes. And a lot of his work is like this. So you basically, in these books, you get a little introduction in the beginning, and then it's just pages and pages of beautiful designs. So I'll just flick through a few of these to give you an idea of his kind of style. And I was looking at this on the train on the way home, and I just constantly kept saying to my husband, oh, I love that one, oh, I love that one, and oh, look at this. And he probably got fed up with me, but I really do love so many of these. So that was really inspiring. And when I got to the back of the book, you actually get a disc of all the images that are in the book in high resolutions. But the real gem here is actually, if I hold this a bit closer, I noticed that there's a website here. So the images are for your personal use, because obviously there's copyright issues. But if you want to use them for anything other than personal projects, so anything that might be used to generate any form of revenue, then you have to go onto the website here, which is the www.vandaimages.com, to request the image and get permission to use it. So I thought, well, that sounds like an interesting website, because they must have all of the images on that website throughout the whole, based upon the whole kind of museum, the whole collection. So I did indeed go and have a look on that this morning, and I registered on it, and it's absolutely fantastic. You can look through their entire collection basically, and there is a section on pattern and design, so I was able to browse lots and lots of image plates like this, not only of William Morris but all of the other pattern designers that feature in lots of these books. So that was an absolute brilliant find, so I'm so glad I got that book. So yeah, that was the V&A, definitely recommend going there. And lastly, I just want to mention something that I saw in the museum, and it really made me smile. I'm going to insert a clip. So there's this book here, and it says, "The painter Paul Klee was invited to teach at the Bauhaus in Weimar by Walter Gropius in 1919. Klee's writings, based on lectures from this time, approach the fundamental nature of form. It was in these lectures that elaborated on the idea that drawing might be considered as taking a line for a walk." I love that. Some examples there. Obviously he's doing some doodles, taking some lines for a walk. London Tower Bridge.